You may now begin your presentation.
What is the impact of one? One person to think differently about the challenges that we face every day as individuals and as communities. Now, many of these challenges appear too large to tackle, but many of these challenges are the result of a simple action. And for a lot of us, these simple acts tend to go unnoticed. The impact of one doesn't seem like much until it is. A smiling passerby in your community or a small plastic bottle tossed in the trash. On the surface, these things are relatively insignificant to us. But if there's one thing that our team has learned, it's that everyone and everything has a story. Even something small. Something this small. Good afternoon. We're Enactus Laurier, and today we're going to tell you two stories. The first one is about this small plastic bottle. The second one is about a man named Gord. Now, these two stories will highlight two major issues that Canada is facing today. These two stories will highlight the issues in a way that shows that the issues are entirely unrelated, but in need of entirely different solutions. But we're here today to show you how one solution can change these stories in a way that will make Canada the leader in both environmental and social change that we dream it to be.
Our first story is about plastic, and more specifically, that little bottle. Many of us probably used one of these showering in a hotel this morning and didn't give it a second thought. We use these single-use toiletry bottles because they're convenient. And we know that throwing out this plastic would be bad for the environment, but we think to ourselves, well, as long as we can recycle it, we should be in the clear. Unfortunately for this bottle, anything smaller than 7 centimeters, or about the size of your fist, gets filtered out of the recycling process. Not to mention, most of these bottles are disposed of with leftover soap in them, making them unsuitable to be recycled in the first place. That means anytime you've ever used one of those plastic bottles, they've been sent to a landfill, where they break down to microplastics that seep into our land and waterways. In Canada alone, hotels send over 750 million plastic bottles to landfills every single year. That's more than enough to circle the entire globe. And to create all these plastics requires an immense amount of water, oil, and CO2, enough so that those same resources could have been used to provide water to 12,000 Canadians and power 21,000 homes and take 6,000 cars off the road every single year. That is the cost of our plastic packaging. That is the dirty side of soap.
Now for our second story, we'd like to introduce you to Gord. Gord has the kindest smile of anyone you'll ever meet. He's very talented creatively, as he makes a lot of his own clothes and jewelry. He's always eager to learn new skills and seek out new opportunities. Gord is an incredible individual who we've been so fortunate to get to know over the past while. But despite possessing all these amazing qualities, he faces barriers that most people in this room will never face. Gord has a developmental disability, and even though research has shown that many individuals just like him have a strong work ethic, high commitment, and have been known to positively shift organizational cultures, Gord is 40 years old, and he cannot remember the last time he had a paid job. And he's not alone. In Canada, over 160,000 people have a developmental disability. Currently in the Canadian labour force, as low as 26% of these individuals are employed, compared with 79% of those without a disability. This makes this group among the most excluded from our economy. In Canada, we pride ourselves on our diversity, but what about diversity of mind and diversity of ability? These individuals face barriers such as lack of opportunities to gain work experience, interview processes that are not designed in ways that are conducive to their abilities, jobs not designed in ways that allow these individuals to excel, and non-supportive workplaces. Imagine having a more inclusive workforce where everyone's abilities were valued equally.
Plastic waste and the barriers faced by adults with developmental disabilities. These are both complex, long-standing issues, but this year we addressed each of them in pursuit of a cleaner, more inclusive Canada. This year, we launched Earthsuds. Simply put, it's shampoo without the bottle.
The best way to reduce plastic waste is to not produce plastic at all. That's why this year our team set out on a mission to create a shampoo, conditioner, and body wash product that did not need to use any of this harmful packaging.
This is what I had in the back of my mind when I decided to make my backyard into my own personal science lab. It started by drying out soap in the oven to make dry soap strips, and everything I made in that oven tasted like soap for weeks. And if you had told me that it would take months until we finally got something to work, I wouldn't have believed you.
We started with strips, then switched to bars, and then back to strips. But we still needed more feedback, more help, and more customer research. This is when we decided to launch our first pilot, which took place back in July.
When we received the feedback that the strips just weren't dissolving properly, it was back to the drawing board. We consulted with over 50 hotel managers, guests, and experienced cosmetic chemists to test and refine the product. We realized an ideal product would be easy to use, improve guest experience, and remain cost-effective. Eventually, we moved out of my backyard into an actual science lab where we put all of this feedback into practice and reached our defining pivot to tablets.
After over 200 formula iterations, we're very proud to be standing here today with a product that not only eliminates the need for any plastic packaging, but one that works just as well as traditional liquid soap.
Ursuds are single-use tablets of shampoo, conditioner, and body wash that dissolve upon contact with water. The product uses absolutely no plastic packaging and sits in a reusable container right there in the hotel room where it's refilled every day.
But how do these little tablets actually work? It's simple. First, expose the tablet under warm water, then crush and lather the tablet in your hands, and then simply wash and lather in your hair like normal.
It holds up against water until you actually crush it. That means that just steam from the washroom or a little bit of water on your hands isn't going to melt the product.
So we're offering hotels a better, high-quality product that both helps the environment and improves guest satisfaction. But we had to make sure it could still be offered at a price that was competitive with the liquid shampoos they currently use.
One tablet is good for one wash, and 2 tablets are equivalent to 1 bottle, which is about 2 washes. It costs 8 cents to make 2 tablets. We then sell these 2 tablets to hotels for 16 cents, giving us a 50% gross margin. Hotels currently pay about 21 cents on average per toiletry bottle. So by using Ursuds, they're able to benefit from about a 25% cost savings on the toiletry products provided to their guests. But not only do hotels have to pay to get those bottles, they also have to pay to get rid of them. Hotels pay a unit fee of about $550 every time their garbage bins are filled. So for a single mid-sized hotel, all of this could mean about $16,000 in savings in a year.
We believe sustainability isn't just about making our world better, but it's about making smart business decisions that help save money and create a better product for both customers and end users. That's why we've baked sustainability into our entire value chain, working towards a circular economy that creates zero waste.
Not only does Ursuds eliminate the need for any single-use plastic packaging, but because the tabs dissolve completely when used, you use what you take, and there's no product waste.
When it comes to distribution, Ursuds are packaged using 100% recycled boxes and trays, which keep the product intact from point A to point B. When it comes to space, the compact nature of Ursuds has benefits both in transportation and hotel storage.
Traditional liquid shampoo is about 90% water, meaning only 10% of the active ingredients you're actually using. Since Ursuds is a solid, it uses no water, and that compactness allows it to be 23 times smaller than a traditional plastic bottle. Now, that smaller size results in space saving, meaning we can ship out more product in fewer trips, and it decreases the amount of storage space needed by hotels to store it on site.
We are very conscious about what goes in our products and where we make them. For the average person, looking at the ingredient list on a cosmetic product is like reading a foreign language. People shouldn't be expected to know the effects of different chemicals, which is why we've made it easy to identify Ursuds as sulfate and paraben-free, vegan, cruelty-free, and comply with the CertClean cosmetic certification.
A couple of months ago, we moved out of the science lab and into a facility that's better equipped to handle our production. We currently operate in an FDA-approved commercial kitchen where we make our tablets.
So who actually makes this product? Let's rewind to about 6 months ago when we started to plan ahead for this. We knew that we wanted to hire individuals who are committed, eager to learn, and excited about our vision for a cleaner, more inclusive Canada. And that is when this entire project clicked for us. Not only could we create a product that solved a major environmental issue of small format plastic waste, but we could also empower individuals who oftentimes have a harder time finding a job.
This year, we launched the Enactus Laurier Work Readiness Program with the mission of supporting individuals of diverse abilities to obtain work within the community. And that enabled Ursuds to hire our very first 2 production employees, Gord and Stella. Now, Gord, you met a little bit earlier, but we'd like to introduce you to Stella as well. Stella is an avid bookworm, and she loves to learn new things about the world. She's passionate about the environment and has volunteer experience in everything from doing food prep at a local kitchen to working with kids at a day camp. Despite all this, Stella hasn't been successful in getting a paid job in over 3 years. But we met Gord and Stella long before their first day of work.
The Work Readiness Program has 2 core focuses, with the first being to develop the hard and soft skills to be successful at work, and the second being connecting individuals with opportunities that meet their needs and allow them to gain experience, which in turn allows them to build independence, confidence, and credibility. Part of this involves understanding how to manage their new source of income, so we had to think about skills related to money management as well. We worked with experts in special education to develop a work skills and financial literacy workshop series and curriculum which focuses on the best concepts to teach and how to teach them. from resume building to people skills, managing money to rights in the workplace, with every workshop placing an emphasis on hands-on learning, repetition, and most importantly, one-on-one support. We are very proud to have worked with our 11 participants over the past year, building their skills in these areas, with one of our participants, Emma, having independently secured a job at a local thrift store.
The second part of this program is a transitional work experience that allows workers to build skills in a way that they can be transferred to any other paid employment opportunity, as we currently do through ERSEDS. When deciding how to design a job that would best allow our workers to excel, we consulted with occupational therapists and support workers to see how we could accommodate each individual needs. In doing so, it allows workers to apply their skills while building good job habits and competencies, all while being actively involved in creating a cleaner clean for Canada.
Now, the barriers faced by those with developmental disabilities isn't just in our community, but across Canada. So we wanted to create a program that could be applicable elsewhere as well. This year, our program was recognized by Developmental Services Ontario, which has resulted in 2 community organizations in Southern Ontario reaching out to us to implement our financial literacy and work readiness program into their programs.
With this new reach, we're on track to meaningfully empower 75 individuals at the same level of depth that we have for Gord, Stella, Emma, and the rest of our participants. And not only that, we're going to be employing 8 more through ERSEDS ourselves.
This has helped us to raise over $23,000 in funding this year from our partners. This was used for everything from research and development to the initial wages for the workers in the Work Readiness Program.
This year, we empowered 11 individuals through our Work Readiness Program, helping them to develop the skills needed to obtain jobs and be successful in today's workforce.
We employed Gord and Stella, helping them to increase their financial independence and confidence in their abilities. The impact that these jobs have had on them is difficult to put into words, but we believe that Gord and Stella say it best.
We're so proud to be able to share these experiences we had with Gord and Stella. And as the ERSEDS tablets gain more traction, we filed and received a provisional patent on our formula. Now that'll help protect us as we scale and become a more public brand.
So far, we've conducted 2 pilots in hotels, which has allowed us to reach over 500 users and diverted over 1,400 bottles from landfills. And this is only the start.
With the recent media coverage we've received, it's helped us to gain interest from 10 hotels, some of whom are planning to offer ERSEDS to their guests as early as this summer.
With these paid pilots, next year will be nearly 1,400 rooms, reaching 50,000 users, allowing us to generate over $73,000 in revenue. And that means almost 400,000 bottles never being produced or sent to landfills.
In addition to this, what our team is most excited about is that 2 of these hotels are franchises of 2 of the world's largest hotel chains. Now, we have signed confidentiality agreements where we've agreed to not disclose the names of these parties publicly, but both of these hotel owners have signed MOUs for paid pilots in their hotel locations. These 2 chains have a combined total of over 7,000 hotel locations worldwide. And both of these owners believe that there is real potential for ERSEDS to be integrated into these chains' global operations. That would mean diverting hundreds of millions of bottles every single year. Now, we realize that in order to meet this increasing demand, we'll have to scale up our production process. That's why we're working with a contract manufacturer to help us produce over 10,000 tablets a day. As we scale, this opens up new opportunities for us to grow our work readiness program, developing new roles within our organization to help our workers further develop their skills.
In addition to our B2B strategies, we see a lot of opportunity in the B2C market. One Canadian national retail chain store owner reached out to us and said he wants to pilot and potentially carry ERSEDS into his store.
On a global level, we're already seeing countries taking steps towards banning single-use plastic. This year alone, the European Union banned single-use plastic, Canada is looking at implementing a similar ban, and California has recently advanced a bill that would specifically prevent hotels from providing these small plastic toiletry bottles. Soon enough, hotels will need products like Earth Suds, not just because it's a smart business decision, but because they'll be regulated to do so.
We're so lucky to be living in a time like this. We'll be able to see the change from when no one took notice of these issues to when they'll be completely eliminated.
It really does start with one team to try something different to bring about real change. Because making our country more beautiful, both in its livelihoods and its landscapes, isn't easy, but it is worth it.
We're a part of a chapter in both Gord's story and Stella's story, and we get to decide what the next chapter looks like for all of us. And we want to lead, not just as Enactus Laurier students or changemakers or young entrepreneurs, but as Canadians.
So the next time you stay in a hotel, whether it's tonight or on your next adventure, think about the impact of that one bottle.
The next time you're walking the streets of your community, think about what it would be like for everyone to have a true sense of belonging and the impact of that one job on the life of a smiling passerby.
And always remember that something small, even something this small, can be the solution to some of our country's and our world's most pressing challenges. Thank you.
We will now begin the question and answer period.
I wondered whether you'd had an opportunity to do consumer research on how consumers would feel about making this transition from a bottle, shampoo, conditioner, body wash to this type of a tablet structure.
Yeah, I can definitely take that question. So this is definitely something that's new. It's a different form than what they're used to, and it's something that will take some getting used to. But so far, we've received a lot of really great feedback. People love the fact that it's environmentally friendly, which helps them make that step to actually a little bit of a different process, getting used to that. But it is very simple. We've made it as simple as possible. So far, the customer feedback is good, but it's definitely something that we've taken into consideration we supply cards that actually explain the process to customers so that it's very easy for them to understand.
Hi there. How have you influenced other employers to do what you're doing with associates with disabilities? Because I think what you're doing is phenomenal, but making that shift and influencing others, what have you been doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things that we've done with our Work Readiness Program is not only keeping it internal, but working with employers in the community. So we actually had an event where we connected individuals of the program with local employers to really get that conversational piece going, to understand that you can get to know an individual for the person that they are, not the disability that they have.
That was really impressive. My question is an extension of that one, and it's when you scale, when you talk about the scope of that opportunity, how will you sustain the Work Readiness Program when you contract out and you've got a huge provider, making product on that level?
Yeah. So that's something that we've thought a lot about. So as we scale, this is a really cool opportunity, and for us to actually integrate and design new roles within our organization that will allow these workers to further develop their skills. Some of the areas that we're thinking about is operations and logistics, as these will be very robust areas of our organization. Something else that we've actually thought about, as Matt mentioned earlier, we have a retailer that's very interested in having our product. Something that he wants is for us to actually go in and do demos to show how the product works to the end customer, and this would be an awesome opportunity for these individuals as they can work on their communication skills and actually develop a little bit further that way as well.
You stole the first part of my question, so great answer. By the way, great presentation, awesome project. Scaling up for the 10,000 and these big hotel chains, have you thought about the sustainability of the actual project itself? So how do you plan on running it at that scale? Do you need capital to basically invest, to scale it up? Just how does that look like going forward?
Yes, so the contract manufacturers that we've been talking to so far, they do all of the production and the packaging and distribution. So we would pay as we produce the product. There's not really any fixed costs that go down there because we're not buying any equipment.
So you have a captive. First of all, I love the energy from your entire crew over there. Sorry. The hotels are a captive audience, but how, and it's in a sustainable, reusable, packaging for where you're going to contain. If you go to a more mass retailer, the packaging, what does that look like, and how does that impact your goal for sustainability?
We have been demoing with a lot of different types of packaging. So some have been glass, some have been metal, and some are in custom dispensers. It's really whatever the hotel wants, and we fit how URSAs will be distributed within the hotel to their needs specifically. And so we work a lot with different hotel managers based on those needs.
In addition to that, when we do actually go for the consumer market, then we will ensure that any packaging that we use is also zero waste, because that is a huge pillar of our business. We're very, very conscious that everything that we use and everything that we do maintains that zero waste priority.
Hi, great presentation. Just a question in terms of product market fit, where you guys have been testing the product with some of these hotels. Any pushback at all from these hotels in terms of what they don't like about it? And are all the ones we have piloted, are they all interested in moving to that, given the cost benefits?
Yep, so we've had our first pilot was last July, and we got a lot of good feedback from there from both the consumers and the hotels. We switched from our dry strips at that stage to our tablets, and we launched a new pilot last month. And again, both from consumers, they've seen a lot of positive benefits from that, and they've been reaching out to us over social media to buy it. And in terms of the hotels, they love it, right? Because it's environmentally friendly, but more importantly to them, still cost effective.
Your time has expired. Judges and guests, please help me in thanking the team from Wilfrid Laurier University, Waterloo.